This is what? Let's go back. Ah, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Bear with me, please. I am trying to. Oh boy, I don't know what happened. I'm trying to log on to this meeting. Try to get. Please bear with me. Nope, 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 nope. It worked once. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Oh boy. It's not letting me get it. What's that? Why is that? Well, those who can't log on, and let me log on earlier, but there's nothing. Thanks a lot of that. Well, anyway, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry about that. We have a little technical difficulty for some apparent reason. However, I want to introduce myself. My name is Craig. I am one of your recovery coaches here at Capital Recovery Center, and today we're going to bring you some valuable information pertaining to substance abuse disorders and some information that I believe that you can utilize. This article was brought to us by greenbriar.net. You can go online. That is Greenbriar, BRIAR.net. Okay, and so without further ado, let's get into today's subject is a guide for navigating triggers and temptations. That's today's topic, a guide for navigating triggers and temptations. And so the introduction says, the complexities of addiction recovery are many, yet two significant obstacles stands out. Triggers and temptations. All right? Triggers and temptations. Successfully navigating these is crucial for maintaining sobriety and achieving long-term recovery. This comprehensive guide aims to shed light on understanding triggers and their role in substance use disorder. With an in-depth look at common triggers, the importance of identifying them, and proactive steps for coping. This guide serves as a vital part of a relapse prevention plan for anyone in the early stages of recovery. All right, here's your guide for navigating triggers and temptations. All right, and so the first subject brings us to understanding triggers and temptation. Understanding triggers and temptation. And so let's read a little bit further and see what the article is talking about. It says, triggers and temptations are two big parts of getting better from addiction. It's really important to understand them from relapse prevention and facilitate long-term recovery. Here's a more in-depth analysis, right? Going to take a deep dive and see what the article is really talking about. And so the first bullet starts off with triggers. And it says, in overcoming addiction, triggers are things or feelings, both inside and outside of us, that can cause strong cravings or powerful emotions related to addiction. Simply put, they include such as people and places. Familiar faces or locations once synonymous with substance use can reawaken memories and feelings from the past. All right? That's one aspect of the trigger. Another one is situations. High risk situations, often those that previously facilitate substance use, can induce cravings. Right? It says these might include parties where substances are readily available or moments of solitude, solitude. All right. And it says another aspect of it is emotions, emotional triggers. So the first one we talked about peoples and places, familiar faces and locations. Second one we made mention of situational, high risk situations. Now the third one we're talking about emotional triggers. All right, these are some very important triggers that we should be aware of. When we come across them, we should be able to register how are we feeling and what are thoughts that we are having at the time and how to respond to it appropriately. All right, so the emotional triggers, often from negative emotions like stress or anxiety, can propel an individual towards seeking relief through substance use. Thoughts, cognitive patterns, or reminders of past experiences, whether conscious or subconscious, can act as powerful triggers. When these triggers appear, they interact with the brain's reward system, specifically lighting up pleasure-related pathways, increasing the desire to engage in addictive behaviors. And so we talked about the aspects of triggers. Now we want to talk about the aspects of temptation. We're talking about a guide to navigate through these aspects. So temptations, the article says temptation, on the other hand, represent the overwhelming draw or urge to revert to substance use despite the path of commitment to sobriety. Right? They say the overwhelming draw or urge to revert to substance use despite the path and commitment to sobriety. All right. So the urges can be so strong that even though we have said it to ourselves and to others that, you know, I'm going to get on straight and narrow, I'm going to work on my sobriety, I'm going to get in some type of recovery support group type program. However, temptations have a tendency to bring about some overwhelming draw or urge at certain times if we don't have the right coping tools. It says these temptations can come from various sources, including number one, social pressure. Being in social settings where substance use is normalized can amplify temptations, pushing individuals toward old habits, right? Social pressure. Remember that. Boredom, a lack of engagement or stimulation can create a vacuum, making substance use seem appealing to fill the void. The next one, stress. All right, we're talking about temptations. All right, and so how to navigate through these obstacles. Stress. During stressful situations, the allure of substances as a temporary relief mechanism becomes magnified, right? And so we get in our head, we place these thoughts, if we're not aware, whether it's conscious or subconsciously, that, you know, I'm stressed out, I may need some a relief mechanism or something that can take the edge off or whatever you may utilize it for or call it or describe it. And so we may go back, just say we may rationalize with ourselves. Say, you know, maybe just have one drink, maybe just drink a little bit of wine. I may just have a few totes of marijuana, you know, a few sniff of some type of drugs, whether it's cocaine or opioids. All right, and so we have to be, or any one of the other substances that's out there that readily available for those who uh, may find themselves in a stressful situation and may have easy access to it. Please be mindful that we need to identify our triggers and we need to recognize the temptations that may come before us. And so the next aspects of the temptation the article make mention of is encountering familiar substances. Merely seeing or smelling a substance can evoke memories and sensations associated with its use, magnifying the temptation. It's worth mentioning that temptation can appeal to our conscious and unconscious desires, tempting us with promise of temporary relief or belief escape from reality. And so, if I didn't make mention, I am someone of lived experience. I'm someone that's in recovery myself, and I don't make light of it. I don't glorify it. I just have. I'm one of the fortunate ones who have was fortunate to go to a therapeutic community to get help for myself, and hopefully that I can help someone else in the meantime, because it's not all about me, but I like to keep the focus on me, however, so that I can be able to help someone else who may find themselves or experiencing some of the things or similar things that I have experienced in my life or walk with substance use disorders. All right. And so I figure I'd share that just in case there are some new watchers, some new people out there may be watching this for the first time and may not know who I am. So I like keep it green. And so by keeping it green, that is that I don't mind sharing. You know, in order for me to keep it, I must give it away freely. And that is something that I learned, and that's the lingo, and that's one of the realities of staying sober in our recovery. All right. And so, next aspect we want to talk about, remember, these are some very strong topics and some very strong messages that's being presented. Internal and external triggers. All right. So you may only look at it from the external aspect, right? Excuse me, internal, right? The external aspect, but there are some internal triggers as well that we need to discuss. So let's talk about the internal trigger. The article says definition of internal triggers refers to emotions or feelings that arise within an individual, either preceding or during substance use. These can be latent emotional responses to certain situations or immediate reactions to external events, potentially pushing an individual toward substance use. Examples. Here are some examples of internal triggers. Insecurity in social situations, all right? And so when I was younger, I used to find myself in a lot of insecurity, social situations, especially growing up and being around. And I just keep it green. When I was younger, I don't want to say I was shy, whereas I was like a scary, clammy type person, but I felt at the time I didn't have the conversation or the courage to speak to the young girls in my neighborhood. And so therefore, there was a little insecurity in social situations where we was at a party or something, and older, let me keep it real. My brother, he would like encourage me to go say hello or just to talk up a general conversation. You know, a general conversation at that age, I thought, you had to have some type of smooth, suave lingo or language. And when I really found out, it was just, introducing myself. All right, enough of me going on. Let's read the article. It says, Insecurity in social situation. This is when an individual feels uncomfortable or anxious in social settings. Anger is another one. Intense anger or frustration can be a trigger for substance use. Some people may turn to drugs or alcohol to numb these strong emotions or to feel a sense of relief. Okay, loneliness, it's another aspect, internal trigger. Feelings of isolation or loneliness can also trigger substance use. Individual may use substance to fill a void or escape from their feelings of loneliness. All right, depression is another one. We're talking about internal aspects, and so depression is a mental health disorder characterized by persistent feelings of sadness and loss of interest. People suffering from depression may use substances to cope with their symptoms or to temporarily feel better. Okay? Sadness, similar to depression, feelings of sadness can also be a trigger for substance use. People might use substances to escape from these negative emotions. Sadness, similar to depression, feelings of sadness uh, look like there is a double typo. So I just read sadness, however, is a double typo here, but we'll move on to the next one, whereas it talks about boredom. Boredom can lead to substance use as individuals may use drugs or alcohol to fill time or seek excitement. Let me read that again because that's a really major one for a lot of people that relapse, and that can be from boredom. It says boredom can lead to substance use as individuals may use drugs or alcohol to fill time or seek excitement. And so there's some coping skills that we share around here with others. When you feel when you feel yourself being anxious, depressed, or isolated, or feeling bored, find something to replace those emotions or those triggers with something constructive, positive, something that can motivate you, and something that you really enjoy doing. And that is something really major when it comes to addressing loneliness, anxiety, depression, boredom, and things of that nature. Or if you find yourself insecure in a social setting, find an alternative route. And so we call it positive reinforcement. And so that is replacing negative thoughts and behaviors with positive thoughts and behaviors. All right? Positive reinforcement. The next aspect we want to talk about, being that we just went over internal triggers, we want to talk about the external trigger. The article says external triggers encompass people, places, and things that are associated with substance abuse. They are external cues. All right? Cues, like signals. They are external signals. And so you have to be able to identify the signals or cues. The article used the term cues. And so and it's like a red light or a light bulb going off. Oh, stop right there. Just like you turn on a iron, the light will come on, right? Letting you know that it's heating up. And then you put your hand close to it enough, you can feel the heat. And so that is a cue. All right, that is a cue to let you know that iron or that situation is very hot. I hope I gave you a good illustration by using the iron aspect. It says they are external cues that can ignite memories or experiences of past substance use. These triggers, being physical or situational, often pull individuals back to habits of environments that facilitate their addiction. Here are some examples. Locations of purchase or use. Certain locations where an individual used to buy or use substances can act as trigger. Returning to these places can bring back memories associated with substance use and increase the urge to use again. All right. The next one is talks about bars and clubs. These are major. These are major obstacles. These are major relapse trigger, external relapse triggers. Okay, past location, bars, and clubs. The article says these are common places where alcohol and sometimes drugs are readily available. Being in these environments can trigger cravings and potentially lead to relapse. People associated with past usage, spending time with people who an individual used to use substances with can act as a trigger. Old friends, old get high buddies, old people that you used to go to parties with, go to bars with, things of that nature. So it's talking about past usage, people associated with past usage. Okay, these individuals might still be using, which can create pressure or temptation to use again. All right. And so if you like somebody like myself, a lot of people that I used to associate with, majority of them, and I want to say majority that I used to associate with were using. We all used to use together. I'm just not saying they, just as if I was just standing on the sideline. We all was using. And so for me, if they are still using, that would be a trigger for me. There would be a temptation. There may be flashbacks, or might be some old behaviors that may rekindle the attempt to use again. So I have to have the better sense to know that I can't be amongst that, because I know me. And if you know you better than anybody who knows themselves, than anyone else know me, then I know, uh, we can talk, we can uh, socialize, but when it comes to hanging out and knowing, and I know that you still are involved, my thing is to get you help. You like someone gave me help, my thing is to get you help if the person are willing to receive the help, and so that is a challenge within this field of as a recovery coach, trying to get people help, but the people that we're reaching out to, either they're ready to get help or they're not ready to get help. All right, and so that's where it is with that. The next aspect talks about specific days or times linked to substance use. Certain days of the week or specific times during the day can serve as as triggers. For example, someone you might be used to having a drink after work to unwind, right? And this routine can trigger cravings. All right. Treatment program often provide tools like thought records or confidential consultation to assist in managing triggers. This is vital for a substance recovery journey and effective relapse prevention. Okay, so anytime, a lot of times when I went to the therapeutic community, there was always a treatment plan. There was always a plan set out for me, the things that I need to do, the things that I need to focus on in order to get better, and not only just go over them in theory, but also in practice. And so I had to put everything into practice. And for the most part, it is working out fabulous. All right. And so I encourage anyone that's going to relapse, going to a residential treatment plan or IOP, intensive outpatient, and there are some coping tools, and the counselor is providing you treatment plan. And if the treatment plan is working, utilize it. If it's not working, explain to the counselor it's not working. Maybe we can work on a new treatment plan. Because a lot of times, some treatment plans may not be adequate for the lifestyle because sometimes people may have barriers in their life where they can't meet those standards of a treatment plan. And so a counselor, a good one, would know to say, okay, let's restructure it that can best suit you to a better road to recovery. All right, let's talk about another topic, and we're going to keep on because this thing is good. I really enjoy it. I feel like that I am back in the therapeutic community, doing facilitating a big, large group, and because a lot of the stuff I can identify with, because it's as if like they telling my life story when it comes to certain aspect that I used to face when I was in active addiction. Okay, and so some of the things that I have utilized to get better. So the next one is talk about the importance of identifying addiction triggers and recovery. Being able to identify this is so crucial to a lot of us, you know, especially for me. I was once I began to identify what was the things that drew me back, what was the thing that was drawing me into the lifestyle of drug addiction. And so once I was able to identify that, I was able to eradicate it by implementing a new plan. All right, so it says, the article says, recognizing addiction triggers is non-negotiable for achieving successful outcomes in addiction recovery. This form of identification facilitates a deep understanding of one's craving and cognitive framework that could provoke a relapse. Proactive coping strategies can be employed only when one is aware of their vulnerabilities concerning triggers. Furthermore, these triggers act as pivotal elements in a comprehensive relapse prevention plan, elevating the individual ability to sustain sobriety in a fragmented, trigger-ridden environment. Approaches to discern these triggers are multifaceted. Number one of them is journaling and self-reflecting. Essentially, in every recovery, journaling serves a dual purpose. It aids in not only the chronicling of interaction with triggers, but also the formulation of more fortified strategies designed for long-term recovery. Self-reflecting further illuminates negative thought processes and intrinsic assumption that could accelerate relapse. This documentation provides an invaluable repository of emotions, insights, and situational context, contributing to a deeper understanding of triggers. All right. Number two, trigger trigger diary maintenance. This is not merely an administrative task, but a critical tool for real-time analysis of one's susceptibility of triggers in daily life. Detailed chronicles concerning the antecedents of cravings can offer salient insight, facilitating the craving of actionable prevention tactics. Moreover, this diary can shed light on the underlying issues, emotional and circumstantial, that precipitate substance abuse. Subsequently, this insight fosters the development of an effective coping mechanism. The third one talks about identification of high-risk contexts. Acknowledging high-risk situation is a prerequisite for preemptive action against potential triggers. These high-risk platforms could range from specific localities to social gatherings where substance use was once ritualistic. All right? Knowledge of such circumstances enables the creation of healthy boundaries, thereby insulating oneself against environmental catalysts for relapse. Right? So these some profound and quality descriptive words that they're using, but if you incorporate it, you can overcome a lot of heartaches and pain. Such discernment is an instrumental step toward a safer recovery journey. The next one talks about engagement with professional assessment. Professional evaluation, often undertaken by an addiction specialist, goes beyond generic advice and finds into the complexity of each individual. These professionals use various evaluation methods such as psychological assessment and interviews to create an effective treatment plan. This thorough approach reveals the underlying causes of one substance use disorder, whether generic, environmental, or psychological, allowing for developing a personalized relapse prevention plan. Accurate identification and comprehensive management of addiction triggers are non-negotiable components for anyone committed to long-term sobriety and addiction recovery. Ignorance is not an option. Informed strategy is only viable pathways. All right? And so there is more to this article that's here that time is not permitting at this point to further. Maybe there will be a part two, something that I would like to go over. But let me give you a rough draft of what is also entailed in this article. And so the next topic talks about common types of addiction triggers in recovery, right? And they are physical triggers, psychological triggers, emotional triggers, stress, anxiety, depression, mindfulness, deep breathing exercise, behavioral triggers, routine and habits. Then the next one talks about healthy ways to manage triggers and recovery. All right. And then there are developing coping mechanisms. All right. 1 through 6. And the last one, seeking help and recovery. Very important. While self-help strategies are crucial, seeking professional help cannot be understated. An addiction treatment program is structured to handle the unique challenges of early recovery. Regular sessions with therapists, participation in support groups, and medication is prescribed can greatly assist in overcoming triggers and temptations. Triggers and temptations are not just stumbling blocks, but valuable opportunities for growth and self-awareness on your recovery journey. The key lies in not just identifying triggers, but developing coping mechanisms to manage them effectively. By adhering to a structured treatment program, maintaining a nutritious diet, setting healthy boundaries, and employing stress-reducing techniques like deep breathing, you are not only reducing your risk of relapse, but also reinforcing your commitment to a healthy, sober life. All right. And so that's it for now. My name is Craig. I hope you enjoyed this information. Please go online, get it for yourself. This article is brought to us by greenbrier.net, a guide for navigating triggers and temptation. All right. Stay blessed, everybody. Take care.